Hey guys, thanks for coming. It is Thursday, June 24th. This is Technology Drop-In Thursdays. We're going to be taking a look at some cool functions that some of you may be aware of, some of you may not be aware of, and just some little updates that have come over in the last little while. So without waiting any longer, let's just jump in. So what I'm going to be looking at here, this is my screen. Oh, you can't see that. That's weird. Let me just double check what happened here. I don't have any background stuff, effects. No, I do not. Oh, there it is. Now it's clear. It was kind of blurry there for a second, which would have helped at all as we're going through. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the nice things within Google Docs. This is the agenda for today. I want to start off with versions versus activity report in Google Docs. So this is a Google Doc that I have, and we're all familiar with the version tracking, right? So if I go into under the version history, I can see all the changes, who's made changes and stuff like that, going back pretty much to the beginning of when this document was created. So this is a great way of going in, making sure that you've got access to the data you need. Sometimes you'll find, like in version 2 or 3, you'll delete a paragraph, and then you get to version 10 and you go, oh, geez, that paragraph would have been really good. It's nice now that you can just go back, find it, copy and paste it into your current document. So that's one thing that I use it for a lot. It's also great for doing the whole cover your butt thing, where when someone says, oh, I didn't put that in there, or you must have put something in there, you can go in and say, no, let's take a look at the time machine, and it shows you right there, I actually did not make those changes. So that's one of the nice things that I really like about history. However, the version history doesn't tell you who's actually come to look at the document. So when you put something up there, has anyone actually come to view it? And there's a tool here under Tools called Activity Dashboard. That will show you all the different viewers. So I'm going to start off here with Shared With. These are the viewers that I have shared it with. So I can take a look that I can see Lachelle looked at that yesterday, Nick looked at it on June 16th, Karen looked at it on June 15th. So I know that they've actually gone and looked at it. So that's kind of nice to have. If I share this document with everyone at McEwen, then I can see anyone else. So a lot of my tutorials that I've done, I've created them in Google Docs. I could go back and see who's looked at them. And I mean, it just gives you a rough idea. It's not a tracking tool to say, hey, you know, you did or you didn't do this, but it just gives you an idea. You can also look at trends. So how often does someone come in and look at that? And that's going to give you those kind of instances there as far as, you know, number of people during a time. So you'll find, like, well, I used to put stuff in McEwen Today. I could tell right away when McEwen Today came out, because usually on that Wednesday or that Thursday, I would get a lot of views, and then it would kind of work its way down. There's a couple of other settings in here and stuff that you can go in and look at. And of course, there's a date range here. So we can see here, this little view here, but I can also expand it to the whole time. Now, because we're tracking viewers, we have to know who they are. So Joe Public, if I was to share this out to the world, it's not going to track that. It's only going to track this elements that we know about, which basically is our internal audiences. So these are going to be the members that we, you know, that have McEwen accounts and stuff. Somehow I'm just going to turn off something here because I've got some people somehow pinging that shouldn't be able to ping. So let me just make sure I get Do Not Disturb. That's weird. It should have been there. So that's the difference. You can also, as a user, excuse me, go under the tool and look at your settings here. And this is where you can say, whoops, that's not where it is. Give me a second. They've moved it to, oh, it's under Activity Dashboard. Under my privacy settings, I can actually go in and say, hey, do not show me when I view stuff. Do not put my history and stuff like that. Personally, I don't care. You know, I mean, so what if I didn't look at your stuff? Just means I'll look at it tomorrow. But you know, if you're into that, you can always go and shut that off. Cool. Where are we at? Oh, that's the right screen. I'm jumping around screens here. Let me just find my proper screen again because it disappeared. Well, give me 1 second. Where did it go? Oh, I'm in the right screen. Sorry. So here's a new function. I put it in the chat earlier, but links now pasted into Teams will format into a title and link. So if you take a look at Microsoft, even Google here, if I was to paste a link in here, so I'm just going to grab Let's see if it'll do it with this one. Actually, let's see if it'll do it with this link. When I paste the link in, it says replace with, and then gives me the title of the file. Because I have access to it, it's in my Google Drive, it allows me to do that. So Google's done that. Microsoft now has that happening when you go into your Teams. Anytime you're in a chat, if you paste something in, it'll do the same thing. So it makes for really handy when you're trying to make a list of stuff. You can quickly paste in all the links. It's going to automatically put the title in there. You don't have to go through and do all that stuff. Spreadsheets, report demo. Okay, so I love spreadsheets. And one of the powers of spreadsheets is that you can create these reports without having to do copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, and reformat everything. You can do it right from the original data. So I just worked on this, I don't know, for about an hour to put this together. The ambassadors have a mentorship program. So as each of these mentors go in and provide some service instruction or whatever, they have to document it. So we're looking at, they're logging in with their McEwen accounts. So we're already collecting their names. We have the name of the activity, the start date, the end date, the type of activity, the number of hours, and the comment/reflection. Now notice here, I'm not collecting names anywhere, okay? And one of the reasons we're doing that is because we do want the names associated with this stuff, but sometimes they will put their names in, they put in the improper name, they only put half their name, they don't properly uppercase it and that. So we actually decided to go a different route with this. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet that's fed by this form. So I went and used Mockaroo, which we talked about a few weeks ago, to create a whole whack of data to throw in there so that when I'm playing with my sheets, I can look around at it. You'll notice here that there's a name associated with it. Well, this is using the VLOOKUP, which we've talked about a number of times. But the VLOOKUP basically says, hey, I already have a list of everyone's email with their name. I will provide the name. And we find that list right here under mentors. So they're going to go in, they're going to make sure that the email and the name here are kept up to date, and that they will make sure that this is in alphabetical order. That's one of the conditions of the way I've got this set up. This has to be in alpha order. So if they add new people, they just have to sort it, make sure it's all lined up. But once we've done that, we are now referencing that as part of the VLOOKUP. So the student fills it out, there's their email, the lookup is done automatically. Now, some of the things that they want to do is they'd like to have these different reports. And here's an example of report by the activity date. So basically, because students are entering these in all sorts of different dates, I might be 2 weeks before I put in when I actually did it. So all these dates are going to be all over the place. And here you can see there's some 2021, 2021, it's all over the place. So I've created a report called activity by date, and that's using the query function. So we've talked about this. If you want to reference one of the other previous sessions, you can do that. If you want, you can search for it or just give me a shout and we can sit down and I'll go through it. Oh, actually, remind me before I forget, I actually have videos for that. So this is what the query function does. It says, hey, select these specific columns. So that's the nice thing is I choose what column of information, even though there might be 15 in the original, I only want 5 maybe. I choose the columns I want. I choose the order the columns are in. So notice it's E, F, C, D, right? Because it's pulling the data EFCD from form responses. So that's what it means by EFCD. It's over here. And look what's happening with that list. It is in start date, end date, full name, activity. That's great. That's what I wanted. Then I have order by E, then C. So basically order first by the first column here, which is start date. That makes sense. When did they start doing this activity? So it's going to be ordered by that first. Then it's going to be ordered by the person's name. So you'll notice here all the July 10ths. And then over here, everything is in alpha order based on the name. So it's really quick and easy for them to go and say, hey, there was an open house or an info session on July 10th. Who all worked on that thing? I can quickly go in there and go, okay, those are the people that worked on it. Other activity that we're going to look at here is by the person. So here I can go through, there's Betsy as the name. So I'm going to look up Betsy. I've done the same thing, the query, moved the columns around a little bit. And the order is different because now I'm going to order by by name first, then by the activity. So you'll notice there's Betsy's, all her stuff. And here we see July 8th, July 10th, August, blah, blah, blah. Everything is now in chronological order. So it makes it really quick and easy for them to go through and look it up. Now, that's cool, but here's where the fun part comes. They need to, every month, send an email out to their people to say, hey, this is the number of total hours you have, because by the end of the term or the end of the year, they have to meet certain goals. So they need to make sure that they update them. Now, the form itself, and when they submit it, sends a copy of the results. So if they're saying I submitted number of hours was 3 this month and 5 last month, they're going to get a copy of that they can put in their own records. However, we know that not everyone maintains their own records. So what they do is they're going to go through and email it. So here's the process. They used to do this manually and then just go ahead, manually add them up and go send it through. But we're going to use this function called SUMIF. And basically, I've got a named range here that reflects the data here, email address, all the way up to number of hours, which is way over there. So we're basically saying, hey, go through this range here, this set of stuff, find this name of this person, and every time you find his name, get his number of hours and add them all up. So that's what this formula here does. So submissions is that range. B2 is the email address. So go through that range, find the email address. Once you find it, go find the number of hours and add them up. That's where the SUMIF part comes in. So notice here, there's 25 hours, 5, 8, 7, 7. If I was to go and filter on the form responses, that's exactly the number of hours that they would get. All right, here comes the next part. I want to email them. So normally they would just take this. I could go copy, paste, put it in the email, put in the person's name, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I've managed to figure out a few months ago a way that I can take this data that's in here and automatically generate an email. So what's going to happen? I'm going to click on this email. Notice it's Trevor at 25 hours. It's going to go into here, and it's going to create an email address in Outlook to the right person, that email. The subject that I've predefined, which is mentoring update. Your total hours to date are 25, because it's just basically doing a merge letter. And now I can go through here, and I can just manually click these a lot faster than going through and copy paste and all that stuff. So that little report there is all built into filters and stuff that within the spreadsheet. And it's a function here called hyperlink. And just FYI, most of the stuff that I'm talking about, even though I'm doing it in Google Sheets, also can be done in Excel. Cool. Last thing is we're using something called Formule. Formule is an email add-on. So it's not run by Google, it's not run by McEwen, it's not run by Trevor. So anytime we start playing with add-ons, you have to be aware that if they break, it's the person who created them that's responsible for updating them. If you use an add-on that's created by some guy in his basement, and then he decides, I haven't got time to update this, nothing you can do about it. Nothing I can do about it, nothing Google can do about it. I use Formule because it has money behind it, which means that there's a New York school district that actually is paying these guys to keep it maintained. So they've actually taken over it and they're maintaining it. So the nice thing about this now is, let's say there's 200 participants here. I can use Formule, which will basically do like a merge letter, but it will send out all the emails. It does not open up Outlook and send stuff. It just basically in the back end sends out a bunch of emails. I'm not going to go into it, a lot of it right now. I'm going to try and schedule a session on Formule probably in the next month or so during the summer to play with. It's a great little tool as long as you're aware that stuff can crap out. But other than that, it would just basically go through this whole list here and send out all the updates doing a straight merge letter. Anyways, that's kind of where some of the stuff that I wanted to show you. I know I've shown you all this stuff in bits and pieces over the last year or so, but I just wanted to see how you can bring it all together. Now, there is a place that you can get all this information. Where from, Trevor? Well, if you go to bit.ly/sheetfund, yep, bit.ly/sheetfund. That's a shortcut I created that goes to my YouTube channel. I have a special playlist here on spreadsheet skills everyone should know. How to do filtering and sorting properly, when to use filtering as opposed to sorting, because I know a lot of people will go in, they want, I want all those names at the top, so I sort everything. Never sort your original data. There's always other ways to do it. So filtering there will show you how to do that. Spreadsheet reports for the query function, which I just showed you again. how you can import data from one Google sheet to another, that kind of stuff. These 1, 2, 3, 4 things here, if you, and this fifth one, which is another one, if you were to learn all the stuff in there, you will be a spreadsheet demigod. So can't recommend that enough. Okay, that was that. What else? Cortana, sorry. Cortana, yeah, it is. This is the Siri in the Outlook of the Microsoft world. It's now available in Outlook and Teams. Now, when it says it's available, it's kind of interesting. It looks like it's available if you're in the United States. However, there are elements of it that you can get access to, and we'll talk about that in a second. The next section I want to talk about is shortcuts for the iPhone and iPad. If you've never used shortcuts, basically they're like miniature scripts that you can use in on your computer. I'm going to bring up my phone here, so just give me a second to launch it. Shortcuts is built in. You can go ahead and play with it at any point in time. Waiting for my screen to catch up. Come on. Oh, don't do this to me now. Come on. There you go. Yes, you can. Why don't you want to work today? It was just working. I had it all preset and everything. So let me just try turning it off and coming back on again. All right, it's going to fight me. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to try loading it up a different way. Will it see it? Kind of like, will it blend? No, it won't. Oh, well, okay. I'm not going to be beaten yet, so just give me 2 seconds. There's yet a third way to do this. So please be patient. QuickTime. I don't know how many people are Mac versus iOS versus Android there. So we can chat about that a little later. But this is unfortunately it's just Mac only. And let's see if this will work now. Stop. Just give me a sec. What is going on? Now I've got people calling me, even though I've got all the filters off saying don't call. Where's QuickTime? All right. Okay. And we're just going to try this one more time with my QuickTime to work. And no, it's not working. Okay. Well, I'm gonna record something later on, and I am going to give you guys a copy of the video on that. Basically, what shortcuts can do is all these things that it takes you 4 or 5 different steps to do in. So, for example, I often am doing research. I like to save when I'm doing traveling. I have a note in my phone. So what I can do is I can say, hey, instead of my going copy the URL, go to find the note, paste the URL into the note, back and forth. Instead of doing that, I can actually either make use of a script that exists already, or else I can make one myself, because it's actually fairly easy to do. And then it'll do that automatically. So when I hit a web page, I just click a button, and it'll automatically add it into the specific note that I want it to add into. I have another one that basically I just, if I take a picture, typically I want to send a copy of it to my wife. I just go, I have to be careful, hey Siri, send last picture to my wife. And then what will happen is it will actually take whatever the last picture is, throw it into a text message, send it off to her, and I don't have to do anything. So there's all sorts of wonderful things on shortcuts that are available to you. If anyone's interested, I can run a short session on that. I will try and have something either as a video, or else we'll review it again next week. But I will try and get something up just to show you some examples of that particular service. And I think that is pretty much it. Any questions from anyone? Nope. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. If you want to stick around, great. I'll even try and get this thing, the scripts to work again, the shortcuts to work. Other than that, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.